There you are. Welcome back to the latest head-spilling, thrilling episode of the most disturbing TikToks on the internet today. For context, don't believe everything you hear or see. It's strictly for entertainment purposes. With that being said, hit that like and subscribe button, hype your boy up, and let's dive in.
Have you heard of the ancient megalithic wall found buried in Texas? And it's in the city of Rockwall, hence how the town got its name. The wall is believed to belong to a prehistoric race inhabiting the Americas. It was first discovered in 1852 when 3 men were digging a home well and found what appeared to be an artificial wall. The wall is a giant rectangle encompassing more than 20 square miles long, with most of the wall being buried. The top of all the uncovered sections has a uniformed height of 550 feet above sea level. Legends say the wall goes down several stories deep, with many articles that describe and photos that show what appear to be archways, steps, iron rings embedded in the stones, and openings for windows and conduits for water. Of course, there's also the claim it's aligned with the sun. Now, the gatekeepers at the Smithsonian and the agents at the History Channel claim it's all natural. Yeah, real natural, alright. We're meant to believe it's some sort of geological wonder, a row of hard mineral stones that appear to be stacked, long and narrow, forming what gives the illusion of a rock wall. Crazy how nature does that. In 1949, several stones that had strange runic characters, pictographs, and hieroglyphs were also found. Now, there's many articles throughout the past that have described this wall in great detail, challenging the idea of a natural formation. One article sharing the discovery of a giant petrified human skull, describing the size as half a bushel basket. The skull shown here is just a depiction for reference, but it's said to have the eye sockets the size of a gallon jug. The skeleton was 18 feet tall, and it was estimated that the giant himself likely weighed over 2,000 pounds. More tales of the chamber where the giant was found mention an iron bed frame, 25 plus feet large, a 12-foot battle axe that weighed 75 pounds, and scattered bones of regular-sized humans, leading them to believe it must have been the room of a giant cannibal, a common theme when you look into the world of giants. So it's strongly believed by the locals the giant did exist. People saw it, and the area was used as an attraction site for many years, and as always, it's said the Smithsonian came and took it. Of course they did. There's a strong legend that it was once a city of giants, while others believe that it was a city built to protect themselves from said giants. So the entirety of the structure has never been fully excavated or fully studied. The only pieces of stone or rock viewable to the public have been removed and reconstructed around the Rockwall County Courthouse. But again, look at the cemetery. What is there really to debate here? So is it all myth or actual story? Use your eyes and the answer's clear. But let me know what you think. What do they not want us to learn about that wall?
The eyes are useless when the mind is blind. Every time I hear about red-haired giants, it reminds me of Kandahar giants. The land of Jesus was removed from maps.
The mainstream might be hiding the land of Jesus. There's a YouTube channel called Leaving Babylon, and this woman discovers that there is land between Russia and North America that they're hiding, and that it's called the land of Jesus. Her video is like an hour and a half. I can't take any credit for this because she did all the legwork. I'm just summarizing what she did. You should go to her YouTube, follow her. She has some good stuff. All right, let's get into this. This map is by Caesar Cassani. Came out in the 1670s. Now check this out. This over here is California. And if you notice, California is completely split away from America. This is America. And this right here is the Terra de Isu. Now, what does that mean? What does Terra de Isu mean? So it turns out Terra de Isu means land of Jesus, according to Google Translate. And so it's Catalan. That's the language up there. So what is Catalan? Catalan is an ancient Western Romance language, an official language in Andorra, Catalonia, and the Balearic Islands. So essentially, it's a vulgar Latin in the Carolingian Empire. So it's a form of Latin, a spin-off of Latin. So back to the map. Land of Jesus. That's what that means, and that's what it says clear as day. Now, there is a strait here, and some people are like, oh, wait, this is just Alaska. This might just be Alaska. It's possible. It's possible that this is just Alaska. But there are a couple of maps that have a strait here and a strait here over here by Russia. So let's look into that. This map is from the cartographer Thomas Campanillas, and it came out in 1702. All right. Mer de Isu, Sea of Jesus. Terra de Isu, Land of Jesus. Now look at this. This over here it says the Strait of Anian, or Anian. Okay. And this says the Strait of Udis. Hold on. This is a huge landmass between America, California, and Russia. Japan is over here. All right. But even if it is Alaska, it was previously the land of Jesus, according to the Google Translate and according to the maps. But there could also be land somewhere in the Pacific that is missing, that was taken from the maps. And we know they take stuff off the maps. Hold on, let me show you. They lied about the shape of the earth, and they're lying about the continents on the earth, of course. The earth is for sure. And in the center, they say it's just ice. But that's cap. That's a lie. All right, so this is Greenland right here. This is Iceland, United Kingdom, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia starts here and carries over. What is this? What is this? What landmass is this? Over here, this is Canada. This is where Canada starts. This part right here and this is Canada. What is this? They took this off the maps. This huge landmass. Huge. And this is not ice. It's not ice. Okay? Mercator showed us what this is. Hold on. This is a map from Mercator, 1595. This is Greenland right here. All right? And look at all this land right there. You never even seen that land on the maps today. Why'd they take that off? Is it perhaps because the Garden of Eden is up here? Hold on, but let's not get off track. I'm just trying to show you that they take stuff off the maps. This map is by Nicholas Sanson, 1657. All right? Now look at this. Canada, North America, land of Yezo. Okay, this is a different word, but they're still talking about the same place, the land of Jesus. Now look at the border of this place. It goes all the way around, and way over here too. This is a huge piece of land. Now, of course, you know, this is a topical view of the globe, so it's distorted. But either way, this is a chunk of land called the land of Jesus. If Christ returned in the first century, 70 AD, and the millennial kingdom already happened, it's certainly possible that there was a whole land area that was dedicated to him, and a bunch of Christians lived up there. Look, this map came out in 1666, which is a sketchy kind of date on it, but look, Terra de Isu. All these maps, all these old school maps say land of Jesus. We can't ignore this. We can't ignore this. Why they changed the names, right? Now, Japan is over here, and this is Asia, or Russia, anyway. Terra de Isu, Mera de Isu, land of Jesus, sea of Jesus. Look at California. California is a whole island. There is a waterway coming up and cut through. It's not connected. If you zoom in, it is not connected. So what happened that caused California to reconnect? And these maps show California as an island for hundreds of years, since the 17th and 18th centuries. All the maps show California as an island. All right? Just there's Japan, Isles of Japan, Asia or Russia today, and this huge landmass here. Now, they're trying to say that's Alaska, but either way, it's the land of Jesus. That's all I know, the land of Jesus, clearly.
Wow, the Terra de Isu, the land of Jesus. Man, could a giant landmass like that actually be hidden from us? But the crazy part is, California being an island, that's not the first time I've heard about that, actually. Some people theorize that the Red Sea was right there parting California from the Americas. Let's type it in.
Gulf of California, aka the Red Sea.
Am I tripping, or is the Red Sea what Moses parted? I know I'm not tripping. Didn't Moses actually part the Red Sea? Did Moses part the Red Sea? Okay, according to biblical narrative in the book of Exodus, Moses did not part the Red Sea by his own power. Yes, of course. But rather, YHWH parted the sea for the Israelites to escape the Egyptian army. So, it's interesting because it makes you think. Everyone claims all this stuff happened in America. Is it possible that the Red Sea was outside California? And it does line up to what everyone's saying about the Grand Canyon and finding Egyptian relics as well. How crazy is that?
Why is the body of water separating California from the mainland called the Red Sea? Marva Mayo, Marva Million, and Mer Rouge all mean Red Sea. What's the point of this? And a side question. On this map from the year 1700, why is there a pyramid right in the middle of America? What's your favorite song?
Well, if you take a look at all these, but these cartographers would draw California as an island up until the 1800s, then they started drawing California connected to the Americas. Which obviously today there's no sea. In fact, you go down to Death Valley or Mojave Desert, it's very dry. Now, why am I mentioning this, the possibility that California was an island in our recent past? Well, if you take a look at all these cartography maps, and you zoom in between the apparent body of water that used to exist in this Great Basin, you see a name given to this sea that once existed in between California and the Americas. On this one map from 1745 depicting California as an island, you see the Gulf of California, or the Red Sea. And this isn't the only map saying this, there's multiple maps saying the same thing. Red Sea, or Gulf of California. Now, why is this important? What is the Red Sea in the Bible? The crossing of the Red Sea forms an episode in the biblical narrative of Exodus. It tells the escape of the Israelites led by Moses from the pursuing Egyptians, as recounted in the book of Exodus. Moses holds out his staff and God parts the waters and lets the Israelites cross to the promised land. So it's very interesting that that body of water that apparently used to exist is titled the Red Sea. And another interesting fact about California, one of California's nicknames used to be the land of milk and honey. Number one, because of how fertile California is for growing crops and raising animals. Another reason California used to be called the land of milk and honey is there are about 1,600 species of native bees. Now, I used to live in California, and I'm very aware that this state is known for its fruitfulness in agriculture, and the bees here play an important role in pollinating plants. So it's very interesting that California's nickname used to be the land of milk and honey. It's a fertile, beautiful land full of bees, a spacious land where you can grow anything. So if it's possible that California used to be the promised land, and that Moses and the Hebrews were fleeing from the Egyptians, then biblical Egypt must have been on the opposite side from where they were fleeing.
And it looks like they're suggesting that the Mississippi could be the Nile. Interesting stuff. That's totally blowing my mind.
Not all Americans know that California used to look west of the Mississippi and the sixth largest and its feeder rivers for agriculture. Not all Americans know that California used to look different, with a massive lake right in the middle. Over the centuries, it got smaller, and as a result of US government mistakes, it completely disappeared. This ancient lake, known as Lake Corcoran, was formed many centuries ago by rainfall and melting glaciers that filled the Central Valley. At some point, the waters of the lake reached a critical level and broke through to the Pacific Ocean, leaving in its place a dried-up valley and Lake Tulare, which remained the largest freshwater lake west of the Mississippi and the sixth largest in the entire United States. In turn, the valley turned out to be extremely fertile and quickly became one of the most productive agricultural regions in the United States. But due to the lack of rainfall, farmers, backed by government support, began using Lake Tulare to irrigate their fields. Despite warnings of the impact, the government continued to fund projects and build dams to redirect water from the lake and its feeder rivers for agriculture, causing a dramatic drop in water levels and the lake's near-complete disappearance.
The failure of an overfilled reservoir in California after days of heavy floods caused perhaps 100.
They raised the dam first by 10 feet to Neolithic land.
A dam over 100 years old is going to be dismantled in California to restore one of the state's largest rivers. Let me tell you why this is so important. Dams have been blocking the lower half of the coast for the tribes that have long lived along the river.
Provides us with
To how it was before human intervention to help curb. A dam over 100 years old is going to be dismantled in California to restore one of the state's largest rivers. Let me tell you why this is so important. Dams have been blocking the lower half of the Klamath River in Northern California since 1908. The $500 million project is set to end in 2024 and is the biggest dam removal and river restoration project in U.S. history. The Klamath River is home to an array of wildlife, including endangered salmon, which are especially impacted by the blocking of water flow. Although dams have been useful for humans, they degrade the health of rivers and their surrounding ecosystems. But once a dam is removed, rivers start restoring themselves almost immediately.
The biggest thing we can do to allow that resiliency to bring this river back to life for the environment and for the people who count on it is to take these dams out.
This dam removal comes after a decades-long effort from tribes, environmentalists, and activists. The Klamath River is also a significant cultural symbol and food source for the tribes that have long lived along the river.
provides us with food, with spiritual well-being. It's our connection to the earth and to the land, and it's the lifeblood of the region.
This dam removal project is linked to a national push for rewilding, the movement to restore nature to how it was before human intervention to help curb the effects of climate change.
So right now, you're looking at the flying train of Germany in 1902. This is advanced old world technology. Did you know they had flying trains in 1902? You can even see the horse and carriages underneath the train. To me, this train looks like it's flying over a world that is a different time, looking back on our past. This flying train is one of the last bit of technology they didn't get rid of from the old world after the reset. It's actually still running in Germany to this day. There was an advanced civilization of humans before us called Tartaria, and they existed everywhere up until the late 1800s. The demonic entities who run our realm today came in, reset everything, and took over. They also caused a cataclysm we know as the Mud Flood, in which several meters of mud buried the Tartarian architecture to hide any evidence of it, and caused many of the civilization to lose their lives. They stole cities, they built on top of them, they took the architecture for their own, and they fabricated his story through secret societies with a divide and conquer goal. And anybody who went against their agenda was sent to the asylums, who were run by the Masonic group, the Oddfellows. They also made human clones in laboratories to repopulate the New World and to fit the narrative of their agenda. Children were sent to orphanages so they could be manipulated and controlled to fit the agenda for the future to come. Wake up and ask yourself, does this really look like 1902 to you? To me, it is like this train is flying through a totally different world and is showing. So,
if you thought I didn't have another excellent specimen for you today, think again. Oh man, so many ways we could spin this one. This is all barite, found worldwide. The blades of blue of Morocco, some of the most impressive we have seen. Barite on matrix. Interesting. I love to hear your guys' names for this one. You can go all types of routes with this one. But if I had to name this one, I would call this one the Ice Bird. What would you name this specimen? I always love hearing your guys' names. Excavated. They use giant excavators to mine this entire land. The Grand Canyon, excavated.
See, Earth in the past was much more conductive, not just for the Titans, but all biological life. I know that the indoctrinated skeptic will come and say, this is purely pareidolia, your mind is playing tricks on you. But in reality, this is due to your Rockefeller-based educational systems and a lack of esoteric studies. There's a certain irony at play that we've been born with eyes and yet made blind. However, with an open mind, one can easily ascertain the thousands of examples of petrified giants, trees, animals, and much more found all throughout this realm. So I hope this clarifies as to why they lie to you about evolution and dinosaurs. See, megafauna and megaflora existed, but our past is very different from what we've been taught. See, the thing is, once we learn to get past our reductionist educational systems, we venture to a vast fantasy realm that turns to reality. There truly is an abundance of mystery to be found throughout this world. Until next time.
Or could the dinosaurs be dragons that so many other cultures talk about? I love how he said this earth used to look like Avatar. Man, I can only imagine the giant trees in their full state. I wouldn't be surprised if they had those old world structures and buildings within the tree branches. How wild would that be? Airship landing stations, landing on limbs of trees. That would be absolutely insane. Imagine the fruit that would come from those trees. Man, it just makes you wonder. That's all we have for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word is old world. Go ahead and drop old world in the comments below. That lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the video and you really rock with your boy. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching this video. I love you guys. This was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you later.